to your favorite podcast, the Everything and Nothing podcast, starring your boys, and this time your lady, me, your host, well, one of your co-hosts, Brandon. You know my voice by this point, but you may be surprised. Mike is usually the one doing this. Well, he is out this week. He's a little under the weather, so I will be taking over. The main event is taking over. Finally, I can spread my wings. This is where I was meant to be. So I'm just gonna pass it on to my fellow co-host, Kyle. Tell the people how you doing.
So we're just completely
Yep.
dropping all regular format the way we normally do this.
That's what we're doing. I call the shots.
Well, what's the question? Because this is not. Normally I'm last on intros.
Well, you're second this time.
I was sitting here and it felt like you were getting ready to go on for a little while, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna move on now. And
you're really doing a great job at narrating what happened, but I need you to be telling me how you're doing. That's what I need.
You need me to be telling you how I'm doing?
Yes.
I'm doing okay.
Anyway, we'll move on. Jalen, why don't you tell the people how you're doing?
What is up, everybody? Glad to have you back listening to us. What's going to be a fantastic episode. I have been doing real good. Just, enjoying life and enjoying working. Well, I don't know. I'm not enjoying, but I enjoy that paycheck.
Hey,
no. But yeah, I'm doing good. Let's get to it.
Awesome. And we have a very special guest this time. We have Bailey. Why don't you introduce yourselves a little bit? Now the people in the back, they may have heard of you from our special episode where the ladies took over, or the newlyweds one. But for the people that didn't, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey.
Oh Lord.
I feel like I don't know. People know who I am. I'm Jalen's former girlfriend, current wife, and potentially an ex-wife. You never know. No, I'm just kidding.
My God.
The escalation in Jalen's
Good Lord.
No, I've been okay, I guess, same thing that Jalen says, working, living, what
riveting.
Can I say?
Riveting. All right. But every week we like to catch up with the people, find out how everyone's been going on with their week. So I'm gonna say the best for last. So Kyle, how's your week been, man?
I see what you did there,
huh?
And I think that you probably look at that moment, and you probably, as it was happening, were like, "Wow, I'm so clever." But
I oftentimes think that, Kyle.
It was pretty visible.
Thank you.
My week's been all right. There was actually had a very interesting moment at work at Cottage and Pizza recently. So I'm just gonna tell this like a narrative because this is my story for the week. I don't have anything else from my week to tell about other than this. I think it's also it feels very labor related. So it's 4 a.m. in the morning, Cottage and Pizza. We just finished cleaning up, and there's a meeting between 2 managers in training and 2 drivers. One of the managers in training is kind of jokes to the other, you're closing by yourself tomorrow, right? And the other one is like, wait, for real? He's like, yeah, but you know what? I'll stay the extra hour and a half just for you. And then he goes, no. Let this happen. This is how I kick them in the balls. And then the other one goes, well, I won't do it for you. That's me looking out for the cottage. And then I ask that manager in training, I say, but is the cottage looking out for you? And then that manager in training says no. And then the other guy says, let this happen. Then I have it in my back pocket and I get to kick them in the balls with it. And so I'm like, okay, what does this mean? The next day, I show up for my shift at 5:00 and it's getting busy. It's getting busy. Like the lobby is filling up with people waiting for their food. We're getting delivery orders coming in. And the managers decide we're going to transition to only making pickup orders, and we'll make the deliveries after we get this lobby cleared out. And so they start doing that. In the deliveries, they start turning from yellow to red because they're falling out of their delivery time. And now we're like an hour behind deliveries, 2 hours behind deliveries. And there was a time when I got back from my last delivery, there was a sticky note on the phone that just said, don't. And it was just, the phones are just ringing. Like the whole place is just the sound of the phones ringing. And the phones say, don't, and no, no, no. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so don't answer the phone. And then I'm standing around, and then this customer comes up to the counter, and the manager in training who wanted to kick them in the balls the previous night turns to the rest of the kitchen, and he goes, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. We're closing down. We're done for the day, right? We're not taking any more orders. And he's like, this is my fuck you to corporate. And, I've been telling them about this, and I've said these things, and they're not listening. And here we are. We're understaffed. We're underprepped. We're shutting down. And then he turns to the customer at the counter and he goes, did you have a pickup? And she goes, yeah. He goes, what's the number? She goes, 109. He goes, oh, everything after 106 we voided. So do you want a refund or do you want credit? And I was like, damn. Like he stuck by. He said all this, and she heard him say all this. And then he stood by it to the customer. And I was like, I'm gonna go do dishes. And so then I went and I did dishes, right? Because I was like, I was kind of into all of it. I was like, this is kind of cool. This is happening, but I'm gonna let it sort its way out a little bit. And I know that the dishes are gonna have to get done either way. And so like, this is a way for to help my brain just deal with it. And so I'm doing the dishes, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna have a meeting. We have a meeting, and the manager's like, the manager in training, he goes, we didn't have cheese prepped, we didn't have large dough prepped. We didn't have XYZ already in the walk-in cooler, right? And I thought that everything would be good but the GM asked if she could leave, and she left. And I thought we would be good. Well, it wasn't. And he's like, so he leaves it up to the drivers. He says, y'all are the ones losing money over this, so y'all can decide if we stay closed and we all go home early, or if we try to reopen the store around 10 or 10:30 for the rest of the night. And I'm off at 12 either way. So I tell the two other drivers, y'all make up your minds, y'all decide. And I'm going to go keep doing dishes. And so then I go back and I start doing dishes again. And then one of my fellow drivers comes up and he's like, man, I don't even know what's going on now. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, the GM's back and she's pissed. And I'm like, oh. And then we're like, oh, but it's kind of cool that the store shut down. I'm like, this is kind of cool. And the other driver comes up and she's like, what are we talking about? I'm like, oh, we're talking about how it's cool the store closed down. And she's like, oh, yeah. And then the manager comes around the corner with a clipboard and he's like, what's going on back here? And the third driver is like, all three of us are doing dishes. And I'm the only one in an apron. And then there's this moment where I'm doing dishes, right? And the manager is on this side of me, like with her clipboard, like doing inventory. And on this side of me is the manager in training that shut down the store. And they're having this conversation like behind me while I'm doing dishes. And it's like, you should have called me. Well, I called the other GM and he said he was going to call around and I thought he'd call you. Well, he didn't. You could have done this so many different ways, And this recurring theme throughout, though, was like the new guy had no idea what he was doing, and that's not his fault. Like the new guy kept getting thrown under the bus throughout like this whole process. It's like, but it's not his fault. It's not his fault. And then we reopened the store, then the GM was like, no, we're reopening. I cannot believe my store closed. We're reopening the store. And then she left. And then the sticker machine that prints out the stickers that go in the boxes that say like this whose pizza it is, it makes this little sound when it prints out. It goes, and it was the store, because the lobby, we've been closed for hours, so the lobby's dead, and the whole store is just quiet. And so it's just this like very somber, quiet feeling at the pizza place, and then it's just like, and we're just like, yeah. And then we like looking around, and like we were commenting like the vibe is like very different now that this has happened. It's like we all know each other a little bit better, you know. I told the story to someone else, and they said maybe the real pizza place was the friends you made along the way. But that's my story, and I wasn't really sure what to make of it. I don't think it was cool the store shut down, because at the end of the day, it did mess with people's tips. And like from a worker's perspective, it was bad the store shut down because it was mismanagement on the part of management. But it was cool to see just like what genuinely felt like a brief moment of like labor action, where like one worker was like used the power that they had as a manager in training to say, no, we're done. This isn't working. And the other manager in training was like on the phone calling people like, hey, just so you know, like your pizza's not coming. And then there was a point where they were like, all right, everybody dig in. And there was like the deliveries that hadn't been delivered yet. Like people were like pulling sandwiches, pizza, and eating food that somebody else ordered but never got delivered.
That's
so that was my week, and that was like 2 days ago. But
all right,
yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Brandon, to facilitate.
No, it's not. Yeah, you don't pass it. I got it. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, I already passed it.
You didn't.
I did.
I swatted that shit out of the air. Like, no.
You have it right now.
Anyway, Jalen, why don't you tell the people how your week?
Oh, my week has been. It's been all right. I feel like I've been very productive this week. I'll let Bailey go into the house projects because that's her cup of tea. But still coding and learning that. Went to work with Bailey on Saturday, which is interesting.
It's like bring your husband to work day. What's that about?
That was like this Easter event that they had, so I placed the eggs for the Easter egg hunt. Work, it's about to pick back up. It's child abuse prevention month, and I can already feel it. So we'll see how this month goes. But while I got the mic, I wanted to do a quick shout out and let you guys know, and Mike for when he hears this. A listener of ours listens every week, texted me this earlier today, and it said, so I don't know if there's a gold vault for the Everything and Nothing podcast, but if there is, the Moody v. Everything and Nothing podcast needs to be in the gold vault.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So somebody really liked that episode, and I thought the episode was fantastic too.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me very happy when I read that. But overall, it's been a pretty good week so far. I know it's only, for us, it's Tuesday. For listeners, it's what day is Saturday, whatever day they get this on.
Mike knows.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any stories to tell you besides that. But yeah, everything's going pretty well. And I'll pass it to my other half, I guess.
Oh, wait a sec. I just got a comment real quick. One, you special viewer or listener in this case, why aren't you giving us any tips? Like, I know you're listening. I know you've heard us.
I feel like that was a tip right there. The tip was episode
no. I mean, I appreciate the compliment. We all do, but we need that interaction.
They did. They interacted.
No, they just say one of our episodes was good. I need good stuff. I need extra help with this content. How do you think these episodes just come out of nowhere? This is hard to come up with content, people. Like, we're trying to create a web of content. All right, you can be the first. You can be amongst the millions, or in our case, I guess 1,000. But like, just say, help multiple brothers out.
It's funny, Brandon, that you say that because last week I told Jalen, I was like, I should create like a fake email and email into the podcast as like a listener. Just roast all of you, and then Mike would get on the next episode and be like, whoever sent this email, this is for you.
Honestly, he would.
He would haunt him in his sleep. I swear.
I wish we had just done it.
Yeah.
April Fool's was coming up.
I wish you would have just done it. That would have been fantastic. See, that's the type of ingenuity we need. Like, that's content right there.
I hope that encourages everybody to send an email, just like with your most like it doesn't even have to be rationale thoughts. Like,
whatever, we can make content out of nothing.
If someone just like
we've done it before.
Recipe, like, what if somebody just sent you a recipe, like how to make like a blueberry pie?
We review the recipe. This recipe's decent, but I've seen better recipes for blueberry pies.
We all try to make the pie at home, and we talk about how it went.
Yeah.
Boy,
I thought the recipe could have used a little bit more sugar at this point. The mix.
Look. I'm just saying, fellow listener who Jalen knows, we appreciate you listening. I just want you to know that we do. But if you have any ideas for topics, or if you just want to send us a question that the boys can answer, we would love to answer it.
Where can they do that, Brennan?
Shit, I don't know. Mike ain't here. With a sick ass. Like,
you should have said something like, read it in the description. We'll put the email
we got a description. Yeah, we need a social media, man. Like,
we have another creative meeting.
We need another creative meeting.
And we need a business meeting.
We do. We've been saying this for weeks. People, we've been saying we need a creative meeting for weeks, and you ain't seen no drop off in content. I hope.
There was that one episode that was titled "No Substance."
Has that been since we started saying the content? No content?
What?
Hey, you know what? We got way off topic, as we do. Bailey, you are not usually on our podcast.
I know. Am I allowed to like do this in the my high of the week and my low of the week?
You can do that if you want. I mean, you can just tell us about your week. That's really what I'm getting at.
Well, Jalen kind of skipped over the project. Every single time we get paid, that means it's time to start a new project. And, Jalen got paid on the 1st, so it's time to tap into that.
Jesus.
So we are redoing our guest bathroom. And so I feel like that's my high of the week is I painted it. And we re-glazed the bathtub. So it used to be like this ugly yellow tile. And now it's like pretty white tile. And I painted the walls white. And we ripped out the bathroom vanity. And we put up like this nice beadboard. And then I'm about to get paid tomorrow. So that means it's going to be the floors are next. So I'm very excited about that. My low of the week was last night. Jalen said my hair felt like straw. That was.
Oh no!
Keep going.
That wasn't super great vibes, but I appreciate all we have a very open feedback policy in this household, so I appreciate the honesty. It just wasn't what I was hoping to hear, But don't worry. Let me give some backstory. Basically, I use like usually really nice and expensive shampoo and conditioner, and then I ran out and I decided, oh, I'll just use Jalen's for like a week or two. And Jalen uses like Tresemme, like the $3 shampoo and conditioner. And I guess it works for Jalen because like, he doesn't have as much hair as I do. But after a while, that stuff really does make your hair feel like hay. So he just politely informed me that maybe it's time to go back to the expensive, which I actually have a comment about this. So I decided that to go to Kroger last night at like 11 p.m. to get more shampoo and conditioner. And the shampoo and conditioner I get is $30 each. So $60 total. And yeah, I know. And
How long does that
I
last?
got to what?
How long does that last?
Like a month.
There's a little bit of a subtle question mark at the end of that.
Yeah,
Happens a little less.
it depends if I get my hair cut or not. So like right now my hair is really long, but when I have my hair cut, it lasts a little bit longer. But what happened was I got to the self-checkout and the like conditioner wasn't ringing up. And so I called the guy over there to help me, the attendant, and he asked me how much, because it wasn't ringing up for him or either. And so he asked me how much it cost. And I was like, oh, it's like $31. And he was like, $31 for this? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And he was like, are you sure? $31? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay. And he entered it in the little thing. And he's like, are you sure? 31? I was like, I guess. And he's
My
like,
man's just trying to help you.
He gave her 3 chances.
Sounds like by the end you were like, do I actually want this?
Like,
She could have said any number she wanted to, and he would have believed her.
$8.
I got back to the car and I explained what happened to Jalen, and he was like, "Oh my god, you fumbled the bag."
Yeah, my man's was like, "Look, I don't even understand why this is $31. Are you sure?"
For real.
Well, damn.
On the way home, I felt really embarrassed because I didn't understand what I was supposed to do. I was just being morally honest. But now I know that like I have good karma in my corner, okay? And it's gonna come back to me most likely.
Well, I like that,
I got one thing to add to our tub glaze story. So if for the listeners out there and for you guys also, this glaze is like
it's a chemical mixture.
It's a chemical. It is strong, like worse than ammonia, I feel like. And we were in there, we hotboxed it at first.
No, you have to say, I didn't want the whole house to smell. So I was like, okay, we'll just close the door. And we had on N95 masks. Within like 5 minutes, I was like, I'm going to pass out in this bathroom.
Yeah, there's a point where we were playing and she's like, my eyes are burning. And I was like, yeah, mine too. House smelled for a week of chemical.
Oh, jeez.
But it looks so good.
anything for the looking good, I guess. Like, well, I'm glad you guys have all had eventful.
How was your week,
weeks. Oh, thank you for asking. My week, and since last Tuesday, huh? Man, I don't even remember what I did this weekend. Like, I truly do not.
WrestleMania was this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. WrestleMania was this weekend, and man, it was good. It was real good. I enjoyed every bit of it. Some people might be upset about what happened at the end of night 2, but I wasn't. I wanted Roman to win, and he did. I have that time before.
Are you off work on Friday?
No.
Oh.
This Friday?
Yeah, it's Good Friday.
Oh. No, not for me. It's like not for me. It is a normal Friday for me. Neutral Friday, if you will. Yeah, so basically that's what I did this past week. I watched WrestleMania. Um, getting ever closer to this wedding. I just checked in the site. 50 days left until the day. That's pretty crazy. But we move forward. Every week it'll be 7 days less because that's how time works. Uh,
Math.
yeah, no. So it's exciting. Doing all of this, like keeping track of time and just reminiscing about the good times. It's had me thinking about the good old days. The days that I met you guys, and one question that came to mind. Uh, I guess for you guys, I had a great time in college, and it mattered. Like the things that we did, it mattered a lot. So I guess for you guys, what mattered most to you about your college experience while you were there? Like what was big for you while you were there in college? Segue is pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, I can start. I would say that, I mean, the first easy answer is like, well, the friends and the people I met along the way. Like the fact that I still know y'all and talk to y'all on a regular basis is like a blessing on my life. And so like,
Oh,
yeah, and so like those things matter to me, and like the time that we spent together in those years matter to me. But when I think about the time in college where I wasn't with y'all, where I had classes and I had things I had to do, and like I think about, there's a couple professors I think about. One was professor in Michigan history, and in like it was like in like labor history, and we talked about things that in that class that like were really influential to me. And then I also had a class my senior year it was actually my second senior year, that it was modern China, and the professor was from China, and that class, I think while I was taking it, maybe downplayed how much I was enjoying it, and how I just think about like where I'm at now, and it feels like it was very impactful because there's a lot of things that, like modern China, we were talking about like the Cultural Revolution in China. We were talking about Mao Zedong. We were talking about like the communism in China, and like what did that look like? How was that implemented? You know, the good and the bad and the ugly of it. And he had sort of this attitude about it that was like, I don't know, maybe. And he was like, I don't know, like, because like Maoism, there's a part of Maoism is sort of like yeah, something like an idea, like people will say, you'll see like in like the far left of the internet, like kill all landlords, right? That comes from like a Maoist principle, right? And in China, that happened, where they actually went out and they just was like, all right, you're a landlord, you're done. You're a
Could you
landlord, you're
imagine
done.
just killing all your landlords?
Yeah, and so and this professor, right, he's got to teach it in a certain way because he's got to walk a certain line as a faculty member. And you'd be like, I don't know, maybe. He's like, maybe landlords are leeches. I don't know, maybe.
Well, now don't you have like a roommate?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you own the house?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Does that make you
yeah,
a landlord?
that make me a landlord. I do have, and, in my budget, I actually have in my income stream, my income columns, I have a section that says being a landlord, and it's the only section that's in red. Everything else is in black text, and in red it says being a landlord. But then I had a discussion with them, and it was sort of like they were like trying to reassure me, like, no, like that's not what this is. Like we can define what this structure is. And
I bet all landlords say that.
well, but that was coming from them, not coming from me.
Okay.
And they sort of presented this idea of like, we are friends, help them helping me out with the mortgage versus it being like making it less transactional. Because I mean, they also, we both do chores around the house. Not in like a formal like you do this, I do this, but it seems like we've sort of have found over time just like those natural rhythms of like, it seems like they do the trash way more. I always forget to get the bin down, but the bin always hits the street, and I'm like, okay, cool, like that happens. But yeah, and so maybe I am a landlord, but at least I feel bad about it.
That's the first step.
Feels bad as he takes some money. Like,
Oh no.
Oh no.
Landlord's like, we can be friends if you pay your rent on time.
Bro, it hurts to laugh.
Yeah, and so I think for me, thinking about my college experience, I think about a couple of those history professors. I think about all the people and the friends that I made, and mattered. Let me see. I just want to double check the question. Mattered the most to you? There is one thing that sticks out to me in particular that I think about more often than not. It was freshman year orientation. It was like welcome week, and there was a
great week.
Yeah, there was a night or a day where there was a speaker, and they had all of us, or at least a large group of us, not just our dorm, but like the freshman class, or like at least the freshman cohort who were there for that first week. And there had a speaker, and there was this moment when he had us all sit in different circles, and we were all in different circles, and there was like maybe 10 to 12 people in a circle. And one of the prompts that he wanted us to do going around in the circle was he wanted to talk about scars and how we have scars on our body, we have scars on our lungs, and how scars are a part of us, but they don't necessarily define us. And basically, he wanted us to think about scars on your body and how you got those scars, and pick your favorite. What's your favorite scar and why? And then we sat down, and I was kind of later in the circle, and at that time I was a fairly sheltered child. I didn't have many physical scars on my body that I could even, like, when I was like presented with this, like, okay, pick a favorite scar on your body. I was like, I didn't even have one that came to mind at that time. And so when it actually came to my turn, I lied. And I was like, oh, this right here, I basically, like, there was a guy like 2 people ahead of me. I just basically took his answer and twisted it a little bit and was like, I don't know, because I was at that time, I also was like not grounded within myself enough to be like, I don't have any scars on my body. But now I'm in a place at 29 where I have scars on my body and I see them every day. and I think about that moment, and I think about that particular speaker and that particular prompt, because, like, what happens to us in life, like good, bad, or ugly, sticks with us and is a part of us. And it was just a very powerful message. And so I think that's my bit.
Not sure I got like what mattered most to you.
I felt like I answered it pretty good. I was like, the friends, a couple professors, this message from a speaker, and welcome.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That tied it up pretty nice. There you go.
I'm glad I could synthesize that for you.
Yeah, thank you. It's like,
love a good bullet point list.
Hey, I appreciate personally, Kyle, you doing your best impression
of what?
Of Mike.
That's clever, Brandon. But this is actually a
you give me a lot of compliments today.
Maybe I am, but this is actually a continuation of what I said earlier.
What was that?
The part about maybe this was pre-pod, I don't remember, but the part about you shaking your head and rolling your eyes, and me saying it was only going to get worse.
It's getting longer.
I'm here, Brandon.
No, and you know what, Kyle? We are happy that you're here. I personally am. I'm sure the thousands of listeners are happy that you're here.
I don't
I
know.
don't want to speak for
That's not
Jalen.
about that.
I don't know. I can't speak for Jalen, but I think he's happy that you're here.
Most
I don't.
definitely.
No, I mean
There
I
you go.
appreciate all that. I'm not. I don't need the reassurance, but I appreciate all that. The topic is what mattered the most in your college experience while you were there, and I want to hear from Jalen.
Me too.
Yeah. So I think what mattered the most to me, like Kyle said, the easy answer is the tight knit friend group that we all had.
Good group.
I feel like it's not often you go through 4 years of school with like the same exact like friend group. Here, give or take a couple people, but there was definitely a core of us that we were every single weekend we were together for the most part. And I'll always cherish that time. I'll always say that was absolutely one of the best times of my life. Just going into college, obviously I was from Illinois. There's only 3 people from my high school that went to Grand Valley from my like graduating class. So I didn't know anybody when I got there, and back then I was even less of a talker than I am now, which is shocking for some people. Everybody says I don't talk, blah 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 blah, whatever. But I made friends like very quickly, and I feel like even our freshman dorm experience was like no other experience that I've heard any other really dorm or college had. I think we had a very unique. What's up?
I have a
You raising your
question,
hand?
Jalen.
Yeah.
You said 3 people from Illinois. Is the plural people from Illinois, is it Illinoisan? Or like what is the it just popped in my mind and I just wanted to ask you before I forgot. Like
That's a good question. Like talking about like Michigander. Like,
yeah.
I don't think we had like a phrase like that.
Wow.
Googling it.
There you go.
Yeah,
This
you have
proves
to
it.
Google that.
It's getting better. Like that's what that means.
Illinois.
Illinoisan.
I
Wow,
guessed
you're
it
right.
right. That's crazy.
I've never said Illinoisan in my life, but
That is crazy. I actually guessed it. Okay. Sorry. You can continue. I just
yeah. All I gotta say, I feel like we had a very unique experience our freshman year of college. Um, I think what mattered most about my college experience was I went to college to, I feel like, learn who I was. Um, you know, I grew up in a helicopter household uh, with my mom. That was her parenting style, and she will admit that and be proud of it. Which there's nothing wrong with that. To each their own. But I got to college. I had to spread my wings a little bit, and I did struggle a little bit academically. Uh, like when I first got there, but a lot of freshman kids do. But I got the hang of it. What mattered most was that I got there. I knew I wanted to be the first in my family to graduate from 4-year college, and I did that. Still proud of that. Now, as far as like one thing that really changed me in college, I don't know if I talked about this on podcast before, but it was a class called Social Income Inequality. By far the hardest class I've ever taken in my life. It felt like I was taking a PhD level class. But it was also the class that changed my worldview and perspective completely. It got me into politics and understanding like the things that I believe. Just learning about social income inequality and reading Karl Marx and all these different authors, learning different theories and perspectives. Um, it really did change my view. And then that same year, I believe was the uh, Obama's second election as well.
Yeah.
And so that class like jolted me into how I believe politically and I don't know about spiritually, but socially and just really my worldview of everything changed after that. And then what else mattered most was, well, yeah, I think that is pretty good. Sums it up.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And Bailey, I'm gonna jump in front of the line for you since we were all together. But I'd really like to know your thing. I'll make mine quick though. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Obviously the friends I made along the way, that's super important to me because I always felt like the friends you make in college, like those are the ones that usually last forever. And us three, I'm about to get married. I'm up there with my boys, and almost all of them are from college. Minus Victor, who's been my boy since way, way, way back, like way, way, way back. So very appreciative of you guys. As you know, I was different from how I am today. That's for sure. I was a little timid. I couldn't. What was the problem was? I was forged in a world where people would make fun of you, but I didn't have the chops at the time. I couldn't do the comebacks, and you get eaten alive in the black world if you can't do that. Like eaten alive, I tell you. And also I let people step all over me back then. But I came to college thinking, okay, I'm about to change me. All right, I'm about to change who I am. And so people still didn't like me for some reason, but but
there's always going to be people who don't like you.
You're right, and
Yeah,
that was a them problem, because I know I'm great. I know this now, One thing is, someone asked me like, Brandon, how can you just be gassing yourself up all the time? I'm like, because if I don't, who will? Right? Like, if I don't, who will? I need to gas myself up to keep myself going. So I'm glad I found a great group of friends that'll do the same. They'll humor me in my craziness. I appreciate it. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. We were talking about the initial first time, but one thing that was very important to me, it was the second time I went through. And what mattered to me is that I pushed myself going into school with zero knowledge of what I was doing and got through that shit. Being older with nothing but sheer determination and willpower. Using my skills that I had learned, being good with talking with people. I learned how to program and I found the people that I needed to get through this and we became friends and we worked through that. And it was tough for me on a lot of times. There was a lot of difficulty, a lot of, feeling like I wasted my time being older than my fellow classmates. It was hard to not compare, but I got through that stuff, and because of that, I'm where I am now. So that mattered to me, that I could push myself to that point and get myself to the starting point of what I've always wanted, which is to not be poor. um, and these guys know that has been a majority of my life. So, we finally turned the corner, people. That matters to me. Unlike these guys, I don't have anything memorable. Oh, there's one teacher that was really awesome. His name was Woodring, and he really believed in me to get through this stuff. He was willing to help me, and I appreciated that. I needed that. It's like even confident Brandon. This is past the confident arc. Even confident Brandon, his confidence is a little shot being in these classes, but I had to get through it. But I appreciated the vote of confidence. So,
well, Brandon, while you're saying that, the part where about pure will and determination.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I watched John Wick last week, and I watched John Wick 2 this weekend, and it just made me think of John Wick. And every time they introduce him, a man of pure will and determination.
Dog, he's crazy, man. Wait, because you hadn't seen any of the John Wicks.
I hadn't seen any of them, so I watched the second one this weekend.
Oh, So good. So good. You still got 3 and 4. But yeah, those are like my big things for college. I want to note that I actually hate college, by the way. Like these things may have mattered, but I hated every second of being there. Like I like the people, but I hate college with a passion. I hate working for no money. That shit sucks. All right, like I will never go there back there again ever, ever. That's what matters to me. That I never have to go back there again. Like, So yeah, I just didn't want people to get it twisted. Like I enjoyed that shit. I mean, I enjoyed hanging out with friends, but necessity, necessity. That's what that was. All right. Anyway, Bailey, one thing you have, one thing you have that's not same. Obviously you didn't go to the same school we did. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it? And what mattered most to you?
My college experience was drastically different than most people's. I say that. Well, you can tell me. Just for like some backstory, I did college classes while I was in high school. So like my last 2 years of high school, I did part-time college and I also worked like full-time. So when I came into college, I already had a year done. So I only had 3 years of school to do. Both of my parents have master's degrees, so kind of came into it knowing that like this wasn't it, like I still had a master's degree to do. But I went into college with like one mission and one mission only. Yeah, I was gonna finish school, but like, I already knew I was gonna finish school. I was looking for my husband.
There you go.
Which I feel like I look back now and like I think a lot of people say like college is your time to like be a little bit of a hoe, find who you want to be, do that kind of thing. Not me. I was like, do you know how hard it is to find a lover or a partner in the real world after college? It's very hard. I knew that going in. So like day one, okay, actually not day one. Semester one, I broke up with my high school boyfriend. I didn't see that working out. He also cheated on me, but like that's besides the point. I actually got back. I got back together with him. Well, actually, I didn't even break up with him. When I found out he cheated on me, I was like, because I think my policy with cheating is like, you do what you got to do, but like, what's in it for me,
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, whoa! Okay. First of all, there's nothing wrong with going to college with that in mind because I was looking for my woman in high school, so there's nothing wrong with that. But I need you to explain what you just said. We're not gonna pass that. Like what?
Hey, I basically, let me just give you the full backstory of how I found out. So we were laying in bed and I was like thinking about what I wanted to eat, right? Because, what else do you do? And I asked to borrow his phone because I wanted to look up places to eat and my phone was dead. And so I looked at his phone and then I was on Google and I wasn't even snooping. Okay, I wasn't snooping. I was on Google, like searching food near me. And a message popped up, like a text message. And then I clicked on the text message because it was from like a person that I didn't recognize. And it was this girl and she was sending like explicit photos and like they were talking like in a way that like you probably shouldn't be if you're like dating someone. And so I don't know if that like counts as cheating. I think it does.
Yeah. Ain't crazy how that always happens.
I can't confirm or deny if he did anything in person with her because he like wouldn't admit to it, and obviously like I didn't know. But I was like, I really like him and I love him, and like he like we go pretty decent together, so like I'm willing to just like move past it, like. Brandon's like, not me, child.
Nah, you know why? You know why? Because if they ever cheat again, I mean, if they ever cheat once, then the whole time you'll be thinking, are they cheating on me right now? And you can never get that out of your head because you can never trust them truly. Like they did it once. Why couldn't they do it again?
Me, it wasn't even the trust. It was after that, it never really felt the same again. Like that fight and like that conversation, it just like, things never got back to the way they were. So, anyways, I got rid of him because I was like, I can do better than this. Um, and so that's what started my venture of like 50 dates, 50 men, 50 different men, 50 different dates. I was on an exploration.
You were doing The
And
Bachelor. What you talking about?
yeah, I met a lot. You know what? I will say that was a good experience for me because I quickly figured out what I liked and what I didn't like and what I wanted and what I needed and what I did not need and what I did not want. And like you figured that out like date 20, you know. So I know I actually feel I met Jalen in my second year of college. I had to do my years by 1, 2, and 3 because of the whole like graduating at 3 years thing. So I met Jalen my second year of college. And at this time I was like, I don't really want it's just so funny how this works out because I gave up on the finding a man thing. So I was like, it'd been a year, hadn't found anyone. I was like, the dating pool sucks here, I guess. It's just a bunch of like men that don't deserve my time and energy. Um, and then I was like, I started to casually date, and that's when Jalen was like, "No, you're gonna seriously date me and only me." Period. But anyways, that was my most memorable, I think, college experience because for me, college was pretty easy. Like I mean, I don't know. I grew up in a I don't know, I think it's different like school in Texas and Michigan. Like Texas school, it's very competitive here. Like they really push you to do college classes. They really push you to be an AP. There's a lot of pressure on doing as much as possible while you're in high school. And then the same for college. Like I ended up taking 18-hour semesters and I got like a whole minor just because like I could. I don't know. I know not everybody's experience is like that, so I want to be respectful that college can be very difficult for many. And I got humbled real quick. I did my master's degree, so don't worry, everyone. I experienced deep pain and suffering, similar to how Brandon described. But yeah, that was probably my most memorable is like meeting Jalen and like I don't know, like, things got more fun after that. I feel like my life really stabilized. Like I was taking 18-hour semesters, I was working part-time, I had an internship part-time, and I was dating Jalen. And I just felt like in that moment, you know that feeling like you feel like you've had it all? That's how I felt. What a
Wow.
prime, you know? And then you get into the real world, and like it's funny how you say, Brandon, like you feel like you're more confident than ever, like now. And I feel like I'm the least confident I've ever been now, which I find fascinating. That we're just
Yay!
yay! My self-esteem is just like in the ground. It's not even about like that's what's funny is it's not even about my appearance. It's about like who I am as a person and who I am in my career and who I'm planning, like who I'm moving to be and like what I'm doing in the future. It's about like that kind of thing. Like the self-esteem surrounded about that. My work ethic, I think it's hard going like being super busy all the time, literally working like going to school like super full time and also working like full time and dating and like doing it all, feeling like I'm doing it all to going to like, okay, I'm just working and like life has settled down a lot. Like, what do I do? Am I not working hard enough? That kind of thing.
Well, I think that's a payoff of all your hard work, right? Like this is what
Well,
it was for, right?
I don't know, because I have imposter syndrome. Like, okay, like I have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, we bought a house, I have this amazing husband, and I still feel like I don't make enough money, or I'm not good enough at my job, or our house isn't good enough, or like imposter syndrome, kind of. Um,
Can I ask you a
but
question?
then yes.
Do you journal?
Ooh, you
Does
know, I do not journal. Um, But I mean, I could, but I probably won't.
I
Honesty.
as
Like,
I'm hearing things, and I'm hearing things that I've said to myself in the past,
Mhm.
and I've also definitely been in a place of like imposter syndrome before.
and we all.
And for me, sometimes writing things down, because then that idea, those thoughts exist in the material world, and you're able to
Mhm.
look at them, and your brain is able to process it in a different way.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll write things out and I'll be like, that's batshit insane. Like that's I know I don't. That's not how I feel. Like, or there's times where sometimes what I'll do is I'll write myself like prompts of like what are the questions that
Mhm.
I keep asking myself, and then I'll write an answer to those questions, and then it's like, well, now that I know that, how do I feel about it? And usually I feel different than I did before.
Yeah. I think that's probably something I need to start. I'm trying to work on my coping skills with it and just be like, is this really like, I think my head can create these really crazy scenarios that like really aren't true, but like I can start picking up these little context clues that make me think it's real, even though it's not real. And Jalen is always like, dude, like you're 24 years old and you conquered so much and accomplished so much at 24. And he's like, at 24, I was making like $10 an hour.
For real, I literally
Even
was.
actually, that's a good ass point, Jalen. Wait a second, I keep forgetting that you're like younger than us. I'm about to turn 30, and I just got to this bitch. Like, like you should keep
It's
that
like,
in mind.
that's the thing is like I hear that and I get that and like that totally makes sense, but I feel like I've never had a normal experience. And so like Jalen at 24 is Jalen's journey at 24. And like that's wherever he's at in his journey, like that's his journey. But like I feel like for me in my journey, I'm far behind for where I wanted to be at 24. And like that's where I feel like life has humbled me in a way of like I was moving so fast, I was having so much success and I was having so much accomplishment, and then like I'm in this job right now that I actually really like, and I don't really want to leave my job, but and that's the thing is like I want to stay at this job because I like it. Could I make more money elsewhere? Yeah. Could I have a better title elsewhere? Yeah. Could I do all these things elsewhere? Yeah. But I really like this job, and I think that's what's making me feel like I'm failing because I decided to stop growing and decided to just enjoy like what I have in this moment. And like that's where I'm struggling is like I've never done this before. I've never just like sat and enjoyed this thing that I have and that I like. I'm always just like moving on to the next to get to grow and grow and grow and grow. So I think that's where the imposter syndrome is manifesting because I've never experienced this before, where I feel like a lot of you guys experienced something similar in college where you were faced with adversity in a way that you hadn't experienced before. And I think that's my time right now. Like I'm facing like all y'all's first semester of college is like I feel like what I'm going through right now. Um so I don't really know if that even answered the question, but
You said I mattered most to you in college. That's what you said.
you did matter most to me. You still matter the most to me. I feel like you guys all really
Oh,
focused on making friends, and like that was not my goal. I was like, I'm not here for, and that's the thing about girls is like you can. I feel like now the girl culture is a lot better, like girls supporting girls. But I feel like back when I was college, it was like girls fight to the death, like so much toxicity, so much fighting, so much drama, and I was like, I don't want any of that. I don't. So I didn't participate. Um, so I didn't leave college with these lifelong friends. Um, but I will say I do have a twin sister who I feel like is my built-in lifelong friend. So I think that's probably why I wasn't as focused on making friends, is because I have this like relationship that not a lot of other people have. So
I mean, I think that's fair, right?
wait,
We
hopefully somebody that's listening to this can relate because I feel like everybody at some point gets into their career. Like I don't know, Brandon, how long you've been at your job.
a year.
But a year. I started out like in my job field and career 4 years ago. So I feel like I'm starting to hit that like that wall that I feel like people hit, I don't know, at the 5 year mark. Like imagine, Brandon, you've been working at your job for 5 years. You like it. You could leave, but you don't want to because you like it. You make good money, but you could make more. You just start, I don't know, getting in this weird mindset. So that's just where I'm at.
I mean, I think it's different for all people because my mindset is I just want to live well. And so if I get to a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of money where I am living well, I'm fine with doing whatever, especially if I can just be good at my job. Oh yeah. Like that's all I need in life. Like as long as I can afford to do the stuff I want to do, buy the stuff I want to buy and not have to worry about my bills, that's all I need. I'm a simple guy, you know? So I think our mindsets are just different and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, um but try and smell the roses. It's all good. You're living a good life. I think. You got a house. You're doing
Mm-hmm.
projects. You're living with my boy Jalen, husband
Mm-hmm.
and wife. Jalen's a cool guy, I guess.
I know. I
I'm
see
just
why
kidding. No,
Jalen.
he's
I
cool.
see
He's
why
cool.
Jalen, like, it's so easy for Jalen to make friends because he like just doesn't talk, but
There we
you
go
always
again.
feel no, he doesn't. He's always listening, and there's something about human
Yeah,
nature, like we all.
I enjoy hearing what other people have to say. I
I
feel like
also,
Okay.
yeah.
if I don't have something like, I'm not a person that just talks to talk. I That's just not who I am. But listening to other people talk, hearing the stories, hearing how their day went, I enjoy that.
Mhm.
Jalen's that type of friend where like you gravitate towards him because all he does, he's a great listener, and
Mhm.
like people and human nature is to be around people that listen. But then like after like a couple months, you realize, wait, he knows everything about me. I know nothing about
Hey, maybe I like it that way.
No,
She
I
is
did
spin facts though.
I did like the change from not talking to always listening. It sort of is like this like positive language too. I like that change.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. Yeah, it's funny. I look back on those times, and Zaylen, like it's been like plus 10 years since we met, and like I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly like how we met, but I knew the conversation we had that connected us.
Hmm.
I still remember that.
I'll never forget that conversation.
Oh yeah, man, tears were shed. Like
Hmm.
it was big. So, but I will say, me and you both listened to each other, and tell our story.
Hmm.
So I think you're right, Bailey, as far as like how it gravitates to people. But I can't speak for these guys, but I went into college thinking I just want to meet people. I mean, as far as like the whole finding my wife, I'd spent all of my high school time doing that, and I still wanted that, but I was working on it.
Did you
Bailey
and Brandy go to
contacted me.
this? You and Brandy didn't go to the same college, did you?
No, we went to the same high school. And I tried several times to get with her, and she denied me multiple times, but it worked
Mm.
out in the end. She
She
called
came.
back.
She
She
came
called.
around.
Yeah, she came around. They always do. No, just kidding. They almost never do, but she did. um, and I think that all of our experiences make us whole. Um,
Mm.
and one type of experience that okay, I'm trying to segue into this media corner and I am like not doing a good job. We go into the
I'm
media
over here
corner.
like wrap it up.
I know,
Like,
I know. We go into the media corner, people. Shit. Jalen, why don't you just tell us your part for a little bit? Just give us a quick overview of it.
Yeah, so it's my week for the media corner. Uh, if you're a new listener, our media corner is our recurring weekly segment that we do have started to do, where we talk about something that happens in any genre of media, whether that be music, news, current events,
Video
movies,
games.
whatever we want to. So this week is my week, and what I am talking about is Black's new album, uh, for people, or some people call him Six Lack, but it's actually Black. And it's called Since I Have a Lover. And this album, I want to start off by saying I'm probably one of Black's biggest fans. Like I was telling you earlier, how you feel about Mac Ayres is how I feel about Black.
Mm.
I would like
And
to say that I feel like I put Jalen on to Black, so
not really. Not really. No,
oh, I remember it actually.
no. We were in our first year of dating when Black's second studio album came out, and I think someone did like mention it to Bailey, and then we listened to it together, and we're like, "Wow, this is incredible!" And we became immediate fans. Uh, we bumped that album for like a year straight, literally. Have the vinyl for our whatchamacallit back there. Um, but this album is, I know it's a long way to go by the end of the year, but right now it's my album of the year.
Yeah, and you know Mike already said it was mid, but I'm so glad
he
he's
fooled
not
me.
here right now
He
because
fooled
I
me.
can't take that energy.
So this album is really about self-growth and uh, finding a deep love with somebody. And that's really it kind of like topic wise, I'm not gonna say it's similar to Kendrick, but it has the same kind of topics that he talks about. And the song Inwood Hill Park, fantastic song. A Spirited Away, been blasting that on repeat all day today. Preach, tit for tat, talk back, Decatur. Decatur is so like it's a song, that song is just about pure love, and it reminds me of my love I have for Bailey when I listen to it. And so I recommend everybody listen to this album. I know Brandon, you said you have listened to it. Kyle, I'm guessing you have listened to it yet.
Listen to parts of it.
Okay. Yeah, I know Bailey has listened to it. What do you want to give your take, Bailey, on it?
Album Black releases and is an absolute banger. This one's no different in my opinion. And I agree with Jalen. My favorite song, I have two. It's Temporary with is it Don Toliver? Is that how you pronounce his
Yes,
name?
Don Toliver.
Love that song. I think that's a banger. And then Jalen kind of put me on to what is it Inwood Park?
Inwood Hill Park. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that song too. Because Jalen told me he liked that song and I listened to it and I was like, do you think this song reminds me? Like, does it remind you of me? Because like the song is low-key like I don't know, you have to listen to it, but I was a little offended at first.
I did not say that song reminded me of you. I said this was a fantastic song.
She's like, it's about me? Oh
TikTok
boy.
audio that's like, is this fucking play about us? That's okay, no. If you know what that's from, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But yeah, you have to listen to the album because I said so. So.
Oh, wow.
And this is, I would say, this is not his best album either. East Atlanta Love Letter is better, but this is very close.
This is coming back to the debate we had about what's Drake's best album. So we're just gonna leave it at it depends on your preference. But obviously Drake's best album is Take Care. So.
Okay, that's some bullshit, but okay. We're just gonna let that go. We're just gonna let that go. No, I mean, I'll definitely give it a listen. Kyle, how about you? Did they convince you to listen to this album?
They've convinced me to give it a second listen. I listened to it, most of it, on pizza delivery night, and I think that was the night that Mike said it was mid, and then my first listen, I was sort of like, but hearing what I've heard tonight, I'll give it another shot.
It grows on you.
It grows on you. It's one of those albums that grows on you, for sure.
Okay.
But also, I think Kyle's taste in music is a little bit different than our taste in music. No,
Brandon, I think you would really like Black, based on like the kind of music I know you like. I think you would like him a lot.
I feel like I can't like think of a song off the top of my head, but I've heard songs by Black before
I
that
mean,
I've
I know
liked.
Pretty Little Fears. I love that song.
Mhm.
Um, I say your taste in music is trash because of your text message review you gave us of Mac Airs, which was absolutely wild. Like,
Wait,
but
Kyle, did you not really like Mac Airs?
he
Well,
said
here's what
comfortable enough, more like too comfortable. I was like, oh fuck you.
that's the way it felt. But again, I was driving. I was frustrated because one of my coworkers was talking to me like he was a manager and he's not. And
Man's
that
really
was not a good balance for the Mac Ears.
man's
I did
really let
I
his outward thing affect his rating.
I listened to probably the first half again while cleaning the house, and I will say I enjoyed it much more the second time, much more while cleaning the house. I don't know what it is about Mac Airs and cleaning the house, but peanut butter and jelly.
And I'll still say this. I don't think somebody can fully understand what's being said and gather all the information in an album listening to it less than 4 times.
Okay.
Well, I love it. I've listened to it a ton. You know, yeah, no, I'll definitely give it a listen, Jalen. I'll listen to that second album first because you recommended that, but then I'll listen to the newest one. You know, I feel like we've been talking for a while, but I think we can fit one more thing in. You know, I think we got a little bit more time. I think the perfect thing we could do is a draft. What do you guys
I
think?
agree. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah, let's do that.
We haven't done draft in a long time.
We
It's been
haven't
a
done a
long
draft in a long
time.
time. Like,
Bailey,
but when
are
it
you
gets
in on
back,
this?
yeah, Baylor, are you cool with this?
Uh,
Are you cool
I'm
with this
sorry,
draft?
I can't stop laughing.
Before we haven't said anything funny. I was thinking, because I always got these drafts on my mind. I was thinking one topic we could do is like if we all gave like 4 artists, that would be a perfect concert for us. Like just one night. Because like I said, these always come off my brain, but that's the one that immediately came off for me. So, I think
good idea.
what we should do. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Good idea.
You up for this?
I'm up for it. I'm ready.
Oh man, I just love drafts so much. So, I think we should spin the wheel, figure out the snake order. I'm spinning it right now, and the first person that's going to be going is Jalen. Congratulations, Jalen. After that, it will be Bailey. Okay. Next we got. Yep, it's going to be me last. Kyle, you're going third. Okay, so I think what we should do is like you can pick anybody, any artist, even if they're dead.
Even if they're dead.
I think that's an important distinction. Even if they're dead, you can pick anybody. And we'll do Snake. So, Jalen, you want to start us off? Let's do the draft. I'm so excited for this, guys.
Yeah, and in the 2023 concert draft, round one, pick one is going to be Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Wow. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Now, Bailey. Hey, Kyle, are you writing all these down?
I am actually writing all these down because I love drafts and am happy to be part of this draft.
Hey, I'm happy you're part of this too, Kyle, and I'm glad you're always prepared like this. Like, man, why won't Mike see? I just don't get it. Like, but anyway, Bailey, what is your pick?
This is an easy choice for me. If anybody knows anything about me, my favorite artist of all time, not even a question, never a doubt. It's Aubrey Graham Drake. So Aubrey Drake Graham. I'm so sorry.
I was like, who is that? I was like, is that some like band? like I forgot his name's Aubrey. Aubrey?
I love Drake so much that I want my child's middle name to be Aubrey.
Oops. Sorry, Jalen.
Can I ask a clarifying question? I have a clarifying question. Is the order of the draft the order of the show?
No.
No, I think we were just doing just in
Okay.
general. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys saw the Dreamville Fest.
Yeah, I saw
Lineup.
Drake came out.
Okay, I wasn't even gonna say just Drake, but the lineup was kind of fire though. You gotta admit.
I don't know the lineup. I just knew Drake was there and J. Cole was there. I was like, that's good enough for me, I guess. It's like,
You like J. Cole?
I do like J. Cole. Although I think he's a little bit older. I mean, I don't think all his albums are amazing.
Oh, it was announced today. J. Cole's mixtapes will be dropping on all platforms.
And I'll still listen to it, but I don't think his Offset was good. I don't think his newest album, Off Season, yeah. I don't think that was good. Mikhail, why don't you continue?
Yeah, I think for my first pick, to be honest, this is the first name that came to mind, and for me, I do think it feels like I do kind of want to build it in the sequence of I do think this is also my opening act. I'm gonna go with Ice Spice.
Like, you ain't trying to win this, huh?
No, I'm gonna win.
Oh, okay.
It's my opening act. It's my opening act.
Nah, I'm leaving on your opening act.
No, she's only doing a couple. She's only doing the hits.
Okay, well, we are not doing this by order, people. I just want to reiterate that. I'm surprised
Diana.
people did not pick this. But like I said, dead or alive, you could pick whoever you want, and I've got to pick the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Get the people grooving, and I think. Since it's Snake, it's my turn again. And I think it would just be a travesty to the people at home, to the people here, if I didn't pick the one, the only Mac Ayers. Boom. And besides, I don't want anyone else to pick him because they think it'd be funny. No, this is me. Mac Ayers, because that man ain't released a bad album yet. And he is on album 5. That's crazy. Do you know someone that has released 5 albums in a row and not messed up? I don't. I actually don't know a single person that has ever done that.
How many albums does Kendrick have?
I don't know, but I mean, he has messed up on an album. It's like, so.
Not in my opinion.
What? Damn was trash. Sorry.
Damn was not trash. Get out of here.
There's like 2 songs.
You hating.
I'm not hating, dog. I'm sorry. Skip. I'll be like, damn, I gotta listen to this trash again. Look, I'm sorry, bro. I'll let you have his newest album, but Kyle, it's your turn, by the way.
Yeah, I know it is. And I'm not regretting my pick.
Yeah,
but I'm sort of like, who do I follow up Ice Spice with? If I open up with Princess Diana,
I think
where do I go from here?
You are putting unnecessary pressure on yourself because once again, there is no order to this.
But what if this is the way I want to do it?
Okay, do it faster.
I mean, you listen to the Spice Girls?
I don't listen to the Spice Girls. I think I kind of want to
pick
follow
Elton John.
No, no, I wasn't even considering Elton John, but now I'm like, I think I'm actually going to follow up Ice Spice with Souls of Mischief.
Who?
Souls of Mischief.
You got a randomizer on your computer too?
93 till infinity. This is how we chill until 93 till. This is how we chill until 93 till.
Stop saying words at me.
This is how we chill until 93 till.
What the fuck? Okay.
This is how we chill until 93 till. You don't know what I'm talking about?
No, I do not know what you're talking about.
Well, it's Souls of Mischief, and you would know. If you know, you know.
Honest, Kyle's is garbage.
I'm building.
Mumford Sons.
Okay. Okay. I hear you, but I don't see Mumford Sons on the official list. On the official list that I've recorded myself, I don't see Mumford Sons on the So the official record does not reflect Mumford and fucking Sons. It reflects that it is Bailey's turn.
Bailey.
Oh, my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay, this is a little bit controversial, so please brace yourself.
Oh, God.
Oh, I already know what she's going to say.
She about to say Evanescence.
No,
Jalen, what do you think I'm gonna say?
I think you're gonna say Kanye.
Ew.
Kanye West, he's only allowed to play anything he made before 2017.
How about we just kick him off the stage? like,
He said, "This is my concert. I only want to hear the hits. I want to hear the hits prior to 2017 and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's all I want to hear from Kanye. And if he tries to do anything else, he's gonna get booted off the stage. And he's gonna we're all gonna throw tomatoes at him, like boo, tomatoes, tomatoes, and like throw them.
Can we just do that from the offset?
No.
Like, all right, Kanye West.
You're like, oh no, he's off the charts now. Bummer.
I can't stand Kanye. Like, that's just me. But you know that if you listen to our not you specifically, Bailey, but yes, you do know that. Sorry, Jalen, go ahead. Take your two choices.
So my first choice is going to be a little different, probably from the rest of the people I'm going to pick. But thinking back about how much I listened to this person sophomore year of college, I will be picking Justin Timberlake.
I thought you were going to say Justin Bieber. Oh my god.
Justin Timberlake. The 2020 experience.
Legendary. Oh, dog. You know what's crazy though? Brandy played that in her car. Yo, I was getting it. It's
For
like,
real.
You are of my life. Like, I was like, yo, I forgot how fire this shit was.
I know. I listened to the shit out of that album.
After your breakup, is that what you were listening to in the gym? Little JT?
My man's just like, I got the inspiration.
No, that's not what I was doing. That was a good album. I was listening to that.
Justin Timberlake in the gym.
The iron listening to
yeah, that's not a gym kind of album. My third artist that will be performing for me.
Wait, do you get to go again?
Yeah, Sting.
Yeah. Okay. My third artist is going to be The Weeknd.
So just to recap, Kyle, what are Jalen's 4 choices? Because he's done.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is, because we got 4.
We've got
I've done 3.
Jalen has Kendrick, Justin
right.
Timberlake, and The Weeknd.
Right, I forgot. Okay, Justin Timberlake, The Weeknd, and who?
And
Kendrick.
Okay, Bailey, it's your turn again.
Doing a little 180 here. I think I would need Miguel.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any feelings about Miguel, or you just have to pick Miguel?
I mean, every time I listen to his music, it just like puts me in the mood, you know? Like, I don't know if you remember at our wedding, but Miguel was heavy on the playlist. Miguel was heavy on the playlist. And he just gets you in the mindset, you know? Like, he makes you feel like you could do anything, you know? Just like, he really just hits the vibe.
All right. Well, my third pick in the third act in my show, I think I'm gonna go with I'm kind of in a crossroads right now, because I've got these two, Ice Spice and Souls of Mischief. And
how did I get here?
not how do I get here? I know how I got here. I got here through conscious choice and decision making. And from here on out, it's about, do I with Act 3 I could switch it up, or I could continue down like some sort of similar path. I think I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna go with System of a Down.
Oh, okay. That's intense.
But it's Act 3. It's Act 3. We gotta change. We gotta change the break it up
once
a little
again,
bit.
there's no order to this, but if that's what you want to say. I want the listener at home to know if we post this on the social media, there's no order to this. I know he's acting like there is, but there is not.
I want the listeners to know that my show comes to you already in order, already prepared.
No, because that gives you an advantage. No, we're not doing it by order.
Well, then maybe you should tell them what your order is when you're done.
No. Okay, look, anyway. Jesus. I think for me, the next person I would pick is actually one of the people that I've seen in live and was one of the best concerts I ever had. So I think I'd be remiss in not adding them to this concert. And I have to say, off of his extremely successful duo album, which, hot take, I think he's better than the other person, I'd have to say Anderson .Paak. A phenomenal artist, a phenomenal performer. Yeah, definitely have to pick Anderson .Paak.
Did your view of Bruno Mars change after the joint album?
Yes, I would say so. Actually, for the worst, because I think he was better. Really? Yes, really. I actually think his solo stuff was way better, but I feel like the album wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Honestly.
True, I feel like I said that at the time when we did that. I talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't think it was as good as I thought it'd be, and I thought that Anderson .Paak's work was better by itself, but it was a completely different sound for the most part. But there are great songs on the album. Don't get me wrong, but that's just my opinion. And since it's Snake, it's my turn again, and for my final pick, I'm going to throw a little curveball. As a black man, and as for the black culture, sometimes we adopt groups that normally you would think that doesn't make sense. Why would they be listening to that? But I think this particular group always gets a ticket to the cookout. Everyone knows them. I would say my next pick is Paramore. See, I saw that. I saw those eyes.
Black people, I think specifically black men who love Paramore.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's true.
I'm going to take this opportunity to plug the Black People Love Paramore podcast.
Oh, yeah.
There's a podcast.
There's a podcast via Black People Love Paramore, and they talk about things that are not traditionally considered things that Black people like, that Black people love.
Oh, shit. I got to listen to this podcast. I'm about to add that.
That's what you said last time I plugged it.
Damn. I'm sorry. I missed that. Yeah, so that's going to be my end. So what I got, Kyle, if you want to write it down.
Yeah, Brandon, you have Michael Jackson, Mac Ayres, Anderson .Paak, and Paramore. And I'm wondering, how might you structure that?
I refuse to answer.
Wow. Okay. Well, in that case, draft order continues. And so for my show, right, we opened up with Ice Spice. And then we've got Souls of Mischief and System of a Down. And I think after System of a Down, we got to slow it down, right? We got to bring it down. We got to bring it in. And so I'm going to end my show with Erykah Badu.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I've got a story about Erykah
Badu.
Okay. So I didn't attend this show, but my mother and grandmother did here in Dallas. This was 3 years ago, before COVID, and they got tickets to see Erykah Badu, which they're very excited about. They went, and it was not her singing. She was just reading poetry, and poetry that she wrote, and it was according to them, awful, god awful. And everybody was just, they said everybody was just leaving halfway into the show because they're just this is not what I signed up for.
That's how I felt when Drake released his dance album.
Really? You actually didn't like a Drake album? That's crazy.
Well, I was I still support Drake through anything, but after that album, I was not this, baby. Not this.
I like some songs on it. I have a house playlist that I'm making, and there's 2 songs on there that I'm preparing for Chicago, so I'm making this house playlist for us when we're driving around. Surprise, guys! Shout out to Mike who can't go because he hates me. I'm just kidding. That's not the reason, but
I have one more left.
Bailey,
Or
you have one more
Bailey.
left. Bailey needs to go,
Mhm.
and then we'll go to you, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, since he's still on the table, and my husband hasn't taken him yet, I'm gonna take Black.
Oh.
And my concert order would be.
Don't do this, Bailey. Don't do this.
I think
Do it, because I'm gonna do it
Let the
too.
imagination.
it's got to be
flow.
structured. We're starting with Miguel, okay? Because he's like chill. You know, that's when you're sipping on your first drink. All right, you're getting in the mindset. We're moving into Black. All right, he's like to me a marriage between like Drake and Miguel. He's got a little bit more energy, but like still kind of relaxed, you know. Then we're moving straight into Drake, okay? Like we're partying, we're drunk at this point. We've had a plate of nachos, like we're feeling it. And then we're gonna end with Kanye because I feel like by that point, when Kanye comes on, half the crowd's gonna leave. It could just be me, right? It could just be me, and that's fine. And his last song is gonna be I think Runaway is the best last song. Like, could you imagine like listening to that and then just ending? You're like, wow, that was spiritual.
Okay.
Concert over.
Fine, I will just do this real quick and add my damn order since everyone else is gonna do it. Mac Ayers is gonna open. I'm not gonna act like, I think this is just the right order. So Mac Ayers will open. Everyone will be flabbergasted by how they didn't know who this guy was and how they need to download his album. Then I think I will have Anderson .Paak next. Then I'll have Paramore. And then to finish it all up, Michael Jackson.
You'll be like, coming back from the dead.
My man's about to come out here and start doing a Thriller. Like,
I'm really struggling with my last pick because there's still so many options available. But I think who I'm going to pick is going to be Outkast.
I'm literally so surprised that nobody took Giveon.
I know. He was on my list too.
There's so many. Giveon, J. Cole. I thought about picking
No one picked J. Cole.
Linkin Park.
Linkin Park.
That
I love it.
That'd have been great.
Really?
Classic.
You like Linkin Park?
That's
Absolutely.
another thing that Black people like.
Yep.
Black people love Linkin Park.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Love Linkin Park. I know all the old shit too.
Yeah, me too. And Fort Myers.
Yes, sir.
Did the lead singer kill himself?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Chester Bennington.
Sad news. It was sad.
But my order for my concert is going to be, I think I'm going to have Justin Timberlake open. And then it's going to be Outkast following up. And then it's going to be The Weeknd and then Kendrick. To close it.
All right. That concludes the 2023 music concert draft. The results are as follows. Jalen's show: Justin Timberlake, Outkast, The Weeknd, Kendrick. Bailey, Miguel, Black, Drake, Kanye West. Myself, Ice Spice, Souls of Mischief, System of a Down, Erykah Badu. Brandon, Mac Ayers, Anderson .Paak, Paramore, Michael Jackson. Listeners, think to yourselves, which of these shows would I want to attend? Which of these shows strikes my fancy? And email us.
Wait, okay. Do you guys have access to the Facebook page?
Yes.
Maybe what you should do is figure out when the podcast is going live. And then one of you should schedule a post to go out about like a poll of which draft pick you would pick. And then
Yes.
just see what people. I probably won't vote, but everyone else can.
And that's a great idea, Bailey. That's what we'll definitely do. You know, I think this was a once in a lifetime kind of thing. And it was good to do it while we had the chance to. But much like this draft, all things must come to an end, including this. I think we're about done here, people. I think it's time we wrapped up this podcast. So with that, normally I would say all the, the places to find us. But to be honest, Mike usually handles this, and I don't have it memorized. so I mean, just listen to the end of another episode. Like you'll be able to get the same thing. But one thing I do remember how to do is to get these drums going. And so I want to say thank you one last time for listening to the Everything and Nothing podcast. Your boy Brandon hosted this one. We got Kyle, we got Jalen. We want to thank Bailey for appearing at very, very short notice. But importantly, Kyle, play me out.